And I apologize, but those are all the songs that we sing when those players score and or perform admirably. I'm really so excited to be here in Swindon, and I wanted to start the tour here because it has become a place very close to my heart, even though I've never visited it before. It just seemed like the only place to start the tour, and I'm so grateful to this amazing museum, which I hope you have the chance to walk around because, wow. Made a video for Henry, I was so excited about it. This is it's like heaven for a 3-year-old boy. But I want to begin just by talking a little bit about my book, The Fault in Our Stars, kind of what inspired the book, and how I came to write it. This book started in 2000, many years ago, when I worked as a student chaplain at a children's hospital in Ohio, in the middle of the United States. And that was like a very traumatic experience for me, and very difficult. I knew a lot of kids who were sick, and I met a lot of kids who died as well. And sort of in the wake of that, I'd always had this question about whether there's like a grand plan to the universe, like whether there's sort of, you know, a destiny for me mostly, but also for the rest of you, I guess. Like, is there a destiny that's reserved for me? And is it particularly special? Like, preferably involves the salvation of the planet, and then like lasting fame. Sort of the Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter guy who rode the dragon in Aragon role for me. And I guess that's a very immature way of thinking in some ways, but it also isn't, because it is not only children who are curious about whether there is a plan to the universe, whether there is some organizing principle in the universe. And I went into my work as a chaplain very curious about that, and I emerged from it feeling that either the universe is totally apathetic to the lives of individual human beings, or else it acts as if it were totally apathetic to the lives of individual human beings. And so then the question became not like, is there a special destiny reserved for me, which I had been pretty well disavowed of. The question became like, is there meaning at all in human life? And if there is it inherent? Is it something that we must like discover or derive? Or is it constructed? Is it something that we must sort of like build together? And lots of people feel that if meaning in human life is constructed, then it isn't really real. But there are lots of things that are constructed that are really real, like the Steam Museum, you know, which we built and is real. And so I wasn't so concerned about that, but I wanted to understand that question. And that question really obsessed me, and it led to me writing a lot of awful fiction set at a children's hospital about sick kids. Actually, it wasn't about sick kids, it was about me, mostly. Like a hotter version of me. The most finished version of these terrible stories that I have, which some people have read parts of who contributed to the Project for Awesome, involves a thank you. I mean, sorry I gave you that terrible story for your $20. It went to charity. Or it will go to charity, I should say, since the checks haven't been written yet. The most finished version is mostly about like this chaplain who, despite having absolutely no prospects and many problems, including alcoholism, manages to attract like a bevy of female doctors. And it's like, which charming lady doctor will he choose? It's ridiculous. And eventually I had to kind of let go of that stuff. And I think a lot of writing is learning to let go of stuff that you like, learning to let go of stuff that feels close to you because it's not useful to the reader. There's a big difference between writing for yourself and writing for a reader. And if you're writing to process, you know, your own trauma, as I was, I think, for those first 8 years that I was working on and off on The Fault in Our Stars, you're not really writing for an audience. You're not really writing for someone else. You're not trying to make a gift for someone. And that's ultimately what a book is. I try to give you a gift of the story, and then you give me the extraordinary gift of reading it closely and generously and in an open-minded way. So for many years it was terrible. And then in 2009 at a Harry Harry Potter conference, I became friends with a young woman named Esther, who was very sick with cancer and was sick throughout our friendship and died in August of 2010 when she was 16. But through our friendship, the story kind of transformed. It stopped being about me, and it started being about something else. It started to be me trying to make a gift for you, trying to make something that might be useful to you, or that you might believe in, or that you might care about. Whether it's constructed meaning or derived meaning that I'm trying to get at, ultimately, I realized in writing this story, I don't care. Like, I don't care who built the Steam Museum. I just like it. And I want to be okay to just like it. I want to be okay to walk outside on this astonishingly, improbably sunny day and say, wow, this is something, you know? This is a very weird situation in which we have all found ourselves. Like, to have consciousness, to have the ability to observe the universe, to have the ability to, you know, revel in a blue sky day in February in Swindon. That's where meaning is for me. And it's also, and to me, that at least is like kind of inherently collaborative, because there's almost, like, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but sometimes I'll be like out on a mountainside or whatever. Actually, this is very occasional, to be honest with you. But I'll be out on a mountainside or whatever, some idyllic location, and it'll be really pretty, and I'll be by myself, and I'll be like, that is really pretty. But it doesn't become really interesting to me until I can find a way to share it. Like, I remember I went on this walk one time in North Carolina, and I really liked the walk, and so I came right back, and I grabbed my wife, and I said, you have to go on this walk with me. And I went on the exact same walk. But I was like, look at that, look at this, look at this, look at all the things that I saw. Like, it didn't become real until, you know, I'd shared it with her. There are some things that maybe that can live alone inside of you, but because we are always stuck inside of our own consciousness, I think there's something to being connected to other people, whether it's you know, through friendship or just through stuff that we love, or stuff that we hate, whatever. But there's a pleasure, at least to me, in loving stuff together. That's a big part of, you know, friendship. It's a big part of all relationships between people. You know, whether it's a football club or Nerdfighteria or a book, whatever it is, there is pleasure in that collaboration, that building of meaning together. And so I worked on this book, you know, for so long, and then it came out, and it itself is a collaboration, you know, with many people. Although Rosianna Rojas, who named the book, gave it its title, is here today. It would be called something else, probably something worse if it weren't for Rosie. But, you know, there are thousands of collaborators. All of you who emailed me to ask me what happens after the end of Looking for Alaska are collaborators in The Fault in Our Stars in some way, because I tried to answer your questions through the alcoholic misanthrope Peter Van Houten. Not that you're driving me mad with that question, but it was a collaboration, but it didn't really come to life for me until it came out. And suddenly people were reading it and talking to me about it and talking to each other about it, and people were making art and music, fan fiction, about this world that up until then had mostly been mine. And so you have brought that to life for me, which is one of the great gifts that I've ever been given. And I hope that it feels like a gift to you, but I can tell you for sure that the life of this book feels like a gift to me. So I'm going to read a little bit from it, and then I'm going to bring on my brother Hank to sing songs. Can I borrow your copy?